That was Neighbour B. That was written by a certain Frank Cortone, who was the friend of a certain Sydney Bookball, who was a friend of mine. And we played this past weekend, Saturday afternoon, at Square Netta on Montmartre for the Bandabacchus Arts Festival. And a good time was had by all, just about. And we'll get to that story. But so our group, it was Sydney on guitar and voice. Julo on cajon, which is like a hand drum that you sit on. It's a boxy looking thing. He borrowed one from Gaetan, one of the organizers. And it was Mathieu on bass, electric bass, and Nico on harmonica. And before our performance, we had two entire rehearsals. So when I was getting there, when the show was going to go on show day, I was thinking to myself, man, oh man. And also there was a problem with there was a miscommunication somehow, and so we showed up with all these amps and gear and so forth. Mayurakshi Chaturvedi, how are you? Thanks for coming. So we brought all this gear and we ended up not being able to plug it in. So we only had 5 entries. We had a harmonica, we had a bass, we had 2 guitars. The drum was unamplified and 2 guitars, right? And so or 2 microphones. So that means 6 entries, but we only had 5 available. So what we did was we sacrificed a microphone, which seemed to make the most sense, and performed that way. Despite the fact that we only had 2 rehearsals. Hello, Mayurakshi Chaturvedi. Excuse my pronunciation. Where are you? Where are you hailing from today, this evening, this morning, this afternoon? Thanks for coming by. And so we played, and we got plenty of compliments. So I don't think that it was less torturous than I had feared. So that was a good thing. But at the festival, so this is sort of a strange thing. There was in Kolkata, India. Kolkata, very nice. How is it today in Kolkata? Mayurakshi. And how did you find this podcast? I'm just purely curious because I don't think we are officially Facebook friends, or maybe we are. So there was this dude. It's normally a dog park, the place that we played, but they closed it for the day. The mairie, the city chambers shut the park for the day so that we could have our festival that Nella organized with her association called Bandabacchus. And so this one guy showed up with his park, and he was playing, fetch with his dog in the park, which is fine. I thought it was just something that he does on a day. You're pretty hot? It's pretty hot. Oh, interesting. Who was this someone who recommended you to join this podcast? That's quite flattering, coming all the way from Calcutta. And so he was there. I thought he was just going to come, throw the stick a few times and then take off. But as a matter of fact, he was there to make a point. And so he's throwing this big-ass stick with he didn't have a German Shepherd, but it's a German Shepherd style dog, something with a muzzle and teeth. And he's just like hucking it down it's a long park, maybe, 50, 75 meters long by about maybe 10 wide or something like that. Oh, very nice. Who is that friend? Can you tell me his first name? Because I'm in Paris right now. Mayurakshi is saying that he is watching the Electric podcast on the suggestion of a friend of his who lives in France. So I'm wondering who our mutual connection is. Mayurakshi. Is he or she also a musician? Maybe we met on the open mic concourse. circuit. And so he was throwing the stick, and it hit a tree, knocked down a branch. Damn, no, I don't know. Don't know him. Where's he from? Where is David from? Maybe I do know him, but I just don't know his last name, or maybe he has a pseudonym. He's not David from New York, is he? And so, so he hits a tree, and a branch falls out of the tree. Okay, so that's fine. And then he throws it, and it knocks it. So we're having an art. It's an open air art exposition concert situation, and he knocks one of the paintings down. We had all the artwork set up on easels, and so he boom hits one of the easels, and this lady, Sarah's artwork falls face down. She was a good spirit though, because when she saw it fall, she was like $350, saying that she had just reduced the price. But then the last straw was that there were some Dutch tourists sitting on a bench nearby. Okay, so excuse my pause. Mayurakashi is saying that Mayurashi, I can't tell if you're a man or a woman. Excuse me. Your profile picture is really, really minuscule here. It's about 3/4 of a centimeter tall. But you look to be wearing a nice red blouse or a sweatshirt. Or maybe that's an apple. Or a tomato. And so he hit this Dutch lady in the leg and cut her leg with the stick. And so like a couple of us went over to what is this? Let's see. Okay. Hold this for a second. There's a little camera icon on there. I wonder what happens if I click that. Oh, nothing. All right. So a couple of us went over and talked to the guy, and it was just clearly evident that he was crazy. He's got, I think it's called schizophrenia. I'm not sure. The one dude said, I think he's on drugs. So I said he should have been on drugs, because that might have helped the situation, because he was just completely unreasonable, really aggressive, But it was funny. At one point he said, "Oh yeah, no, you fuck off, you American with your nice big smile," So he was pretty perceptive. I mean, I think he's he was telling me that he draws manga comic books, and he can write kanji and stuff like. So it's like, I think he's just highly, highly disturbed, and so we went over there and tried to talk sense to him, but he was completely unreasonable and borderline, violent. So a friend of mine, Cecile a appelé la police, as she called the police, and some other people did too, and a few of us went walking around looking for police, because they do foot patrols in the area normally, except when you need them. They were probably busting, probably for not wearing a diaper, and we called the police. First, the municipal, the park patrol came by and tried to talk to him, and the dude was having none of it. He's just like, no, piss off, fuck you. And then later, much later, 3 cops showed up, and they were discussing with the guy for like a half hour. I just kept looking over there, and then finally, and at one point they were gone. So I guess they might have hauled him off in a paddy wagon at some point to resolve that issue. But Nella was pretty funny, because she was the MC of the festivities as well, and she was making announcements between each group going on, telling everyone about the association and asking for support and donations and so forth. It's called Bandabacchus. You can find it on the Book of Faces as well as the Gram of Instas. And it's Bandabacchus. So go there and give it a click, and a like, and a follow. And she was noting that if you want to play guitar in the street on Montmartre, a cop will show up in 5 minutes. But if you call them because someone's being dangerous and violent, it'll take an hour True story. What else happened? Oh yeah, so our band was playing and it went pretty well. This was the song, this one, Neighbour B, that I just learned, like we only had 2 rehearsals, so I was supposed to sing backup on this, but Nico did instead, so that was good. But Neighbour B, you don't interest me, something. And so we were there, and after the performance, Nella came up again, and she was going to thank us, and then again she's saying, and again a big round of applause for, and I'm looking at Sid. We had a WhatsApp group chat called, and it was Sydney titled it Bacchus Burnout. So then when we were thinking of coming up with a group name, at the last moment I suggested Les Burnout, Les Burnout. And so I said, Nella's up there and she's saying, and a big round of applause for, and I'm like, oh, I look at Sydney and I say, Les Burnout. And Les Burnout. And then Sydney turns to Nella and says, in his nice French accent, Les Burnout. Like that. And then Nella's like, and a big round of applause for Bernard. So, super name. What else happened? Oh, that was a big, big day. Thanks, my Yurakshi, for coming by. I hope, I'm going to find out who this David Kingsley is. Oh, shit, I shouldn't have thrown him under the bus. So we only got a minute here. But the last thing is, it was a big-ass day, so I came up to here, to L'Atelier, on foot. It's about 1.5 kilometers away from where we live. All uphill, both ways, just one way. Downhill, it's great. It's just 7 minutes downhill. About half an hour uphill, 25 minutes if I'm huffing. And offloaded all this gear to Sydney, who came by, picked it up, and then went back to his place over on the other side of the Seine. And then I rode back down to our apartment, got onto a bike with my backpack chock full, guitar slung on one shoulder, and a painting in another hand, and then pedaled up to Montmartre, which is about 2 kilometers from there. Then walk up to the top of Montmartre where Sacré-Cœur is. That's where the Place Nadar is. Set up everything. The gates were locked, so we had to jump the fence a number of times. Oh, man. Well, anyway, that story is not important. It's just a poor me story about how much exercise I got yesterday, or on Saturday. So anyway, thanks for everyone who came, and thank you, Mayurakshi from Calcutta, for joining. And this is the part where I say goodbye.